Hello, back in the snowy mountains for another practice. I don't know, soon we'll be on the road and there will be scenery changes. Always a good time. So, yeah, welcome to practice today. I woke up with like a tight low back. So, let's start laying on our backs. Loosen the low back, loosen the hips. We officially have a meditation week coming up, so let's make sure we're working through just hip opening things that make the seated meditative pose more and more comfortable, which is definitely Pavanmuktanasana, joint purification practices. And we'll see what else we get into. We've been doing some really delicious hip opening, lots of range of motion, getting a little heat going in the body as we are here at the tail end. I think March 1st. Maybe we're just going to call it early spring. Like, let's call it. Some people are having, early spring, late spring, no spring, straight to summer, all sorts of things. So it's really about helping the body adapt, like helping the body um, be more adaptable in changeful times. Certainly, that will help us on a global level in some way. But just talking about the environmental shifts that are happening and the shifts within the shifts. So, the more we can make our bodies adaptable, the better. And every time we come to the mat, that opportunity to connect to body, to connect to breath, and those two things together, moving with the breath, circulates prana throughout the body. So let's play around. Let's see where we go. We're going to start on our backs today. As I scoop myself around. Yeah, coming down onto the back body. Last week it was not socks and sweatshirts, but that's how it goes. And of course, going from a hot, humid environment to a cold, dry environment, all that sort of dampness that was encouraged in the warm, humid environment starts to stir and move. That's also early spring. We've got phlegm or just dampness, heaviness from the winter being alighted, right, through the power of the sun, the presence of the sun, to start moving. Except that might not be all that much fun. So let's see if we can make it a little bit more fun in here. So I'm just laying on my back. I've got the feet wide, knees together. And I'm finding the breath. Checking right in with yourself. How are you breathing today? How accessible is the breath? Did you wake up tense? Right? And discover that the breath was more constricted, being tense? Did you come out of the dreamscape full of hope and possibility? And the breath is spacious. So much to observe about the breath. We want to build that observational capacity while we're doing movement practice. And then we want to translate that into the seated meditative practice. How is the flow of the breath when there are the flow of thoughts? Oh, next inhale, take a big stretch of the arms overhead. And just kind of eat it out, make some sounds. Have you noticed since Zoom practices and at-home practices have, become a thing in our lives the last few years? Do you notice that you allow yourself to make more sounds when you're practicing? I think people really filtered a lot when we were in group classes and, there's a decorum. But at home, you can just let all the sounds out, all the ahs. Now, I've always been a real talkative yoga person, very expressive. Oh, when I'm in my practice, encouraging all of you to do the same. Let's take this in a zigzag twist. So inhale in the center, exhale. Oh, yeah, that's tight. Let it both knees drop to the side. Let the head turn in the opposite direction. And Your feet are wide. So this twist is a little bit wider into the hips, meaning the outsides of the hips. Those are rotators. Let's take this inhale center. Oh, exhale to the opposite side. Let's see if we can make that right glute any happier through practice today. We're gonna go to each side a couple more times, but just sitting, like letting this twist soak in, a marinating twist. Inhale in the center, exhale side. Inhale center, and exhale side. Inhale center and exhale to the side. Last one here, inhale center, exhale. And from here, we're back to center and drawing the knees in towards the chest, give the legs a hug. And just start to feel SI joint, very dynamic joint space in the low back. And what I'm doing is just starting with these very gentle rocking. I want to help the fluid that's in that joint space, in the sacroiliac joint. I want it to move. I want it to move from sticky gel like. Now I'm getting a little bit bigger with that rocking from side to side all the way onto the elbow. I want it to move from its sticky gel like state to a more fluid, flowy state. That's going to nourish everything that's adjacent or attaching in that area. That is the basic premise of range of motion or therapeutic movement, to get gel-like spaces to be more fluid, to nourish attachment sites where it's not blood vessel rich, it's not circulation rich. And in this way, we can even move bones. Bones will simply find their right alignment. Let's turn this into circles. So let the knees fall away from you. Let the knees draw in towards the chest as we circle. And how about this in the opposite direction? And now knees float in figure eight. So one knee at a time in towards the chest. Circling, flowing. And the opposite direction. Figure eights. I've got my awareness back there. SI joint. I'm starting to feel the muscles above there. That's basically lats. UL. Now I'm going to come into something like a happy baby. I've got my hands just holding behind the backs of the knees. And I'm rocking side to side. And I'm giving it a little wiggle, then coming back down onto the floor. And with all those wiggles, I'm scooching back up my mat. Both legs outstretched. Let's play around with single leg knee to chest, which is also called Pavamuktanasana. So let's say your low back's feeling amazing. You could just lift the legs straight. My low back is not feeling amazing today. So I'm just going to gently draw the knee in towards my chest, clasp both hands on the knee. I want that knee directly over the hip, and I might add both feet flexed here. And I start breathing, breathing to tight places, breathing into the open spaces, adding little wiggles where that feels intuitive. Breathing into sacrum, breathing into the whole of the pelvic bowl. This pose also activates large intestine and colon. That's why it's called wind releasing pose. Because toot toot. Inhale, stretch back up. Exhale down. Right, we had that option to just bring the knee in towards the chest. Clasp the hands on the shin, flex both feet. And we breathe. Next inhale. We're stretching back outward and down. Let's do 3 to each side, coordinating with the breath. So we inhale, raise the leg to 45 degrees. Exhale, knee towards chest. Inhale, stretch it back out, and exhale down. But it's slow, it's with the rhythm of the breath. We're just moving in slow motion. We said when we link movement and breath, we increase flow of prana, life force energy in the body. Inhale and exhale. Nice and slow flowing side to side. One more to each side. Nice, back to center. Come back to those zigzag twists. And let's do a more dynamic version. Side to side. Figure four stretch while we're here. Bring the right foot just above the left knee. Let the right knee float to the outside. Now that we're getting into some of those external rotators, give a little rocking. Just here in the center. Breathing. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, let this right knee fall to the outside. Let the placement of the foot traction through left hip. It's kind of a toss up, like, what's this arm doing? It would prefer to be on the floor, but there might be some limitations here. Well, you could even have that arm overhead or goalpost, or just put that arm somewhere else if it's really uncomfortable, just stretching off the floor. Coming back to the center. A little in the opposite direction. Let's switch, or left foot on top of the right. Let that knee rotate to the outside for the 4. We still have that foot on the floor. We're doing a little rocking. And breathing. Big breath in center. Exhale, drop this knee to the outside, let it traction. All right, I've still got some issue here with this arm. It is way off the floor. That does not feel the best. So I'm just playing a little. And I'm noticing I'm not getting a lot of traction here. Like hip flexors are still holding on for dear life. I'm coming back to the center and I'm just going to offer this little massagey tractiony movement right at my hip flexors. I'm using the heel of my hand and just pressing away. Like, let me give some suggestion. Then this thing right here, this is a muscle, it's called TFL, tensor fascia latte. Your Starbucks muscle, your cappuccino muscle right there. And so I came there and it's like it might as well be made of steel, right? So I'm gonna give that a little tapping. And I'm thinking like I'm tapping in to the interior of my body. I turn my hand around and just on the other side of tensor fascia latte, I'm hitting the attachment site of IT band. Now clearly these two are not having a good day. Now let me see, did I get any space through there? I'm feeling a little space in the back body. Uh-huh. Can I feel that little sense of traction? Let me come back to the figure four stretch and see. I breathe in, and as I exhale, am I getting any more movement through the front part of the hip? A little bit. Inhale back to center, switching sides. Inhale and exhale. Oh, I'm getting a little wee something. Give it a little. And that is fascia of the stomach channel. Back to center. Let's bring right foot up to the sky. Clasp the hands in the back of the thigh. Circles. Circles in the opposite direction. We flex. We point. We push the palm out. Let's keep that going. Feeling tightness through the calf. Just noticing that. Let's get that little pound in between. Let's try the other side. It's like stretch. Back of thigh circles. Circles in opposite direction. Let's go flex. Point. Push through the palm out. Push through the palm out. One more little set. I have to get that one all pounds. Pounding at the calves. Oh yeah. Take a big stretch through the body. Anything feeling looser? Big stretch. We're going to bring ourselves onto side body. Let's keep this going, moving with the breath. I'm straight up and down on my side body. I'm even going to look like, do I think I'm straight up and down? But actually, at my tushes to the back. I don't want to get Nice and straight, palm face down, stacking the other arm on top. So this is variation of hand to toe pose on the side, pardon me, on the side body. Before we move, ground into the floor. Nice big breath in, and as you exhale, feel the whole surface area of the body is melting into the floor. You're so grounded on this side body. Before we stack the top arm and then start moving with the breath, inhale, hand towards foot. Maybe you're going to grab those toes. Me, I know we're going to do this a few times, so I'm not going to be in a rush. Maybe I'm reaching the toes, maybe not. I want to feel light, feather, clouds. This is a big flexibility building pose. Now, what I'm going to do is offer a little traction for myself here. So when I'm coming back to the center, this is just stuff that I've like figured out for myself. When I come back, I'm going to have this foot ever so slightly to the behind the heel. So this is my right leg. My left leg is on the floor. I have my right foot a little behind my left heel. And I just let that. I don't know why this feels so heavenly. Must be something about like the glutes are totally relaxed in this pose. And then where they're attaching here at the greater trochanter, it's just releasing because I get an immense traction through the side of my hip that also decompresses sacrum. So I do that each round, like inhale and then exhale. And I just let that, while this arm is stretching, I offer that little traction. Inhaling up. Okay, now there's a little balance element here because if you roll onto the tush, then you're out of the pose. So keep grounding into the floor. Play around with that little traction there. Breathe into it. Inhale. Exhale. Little stretch, little traction. I hang out in there for an extra breath. Let's do one more dynamically. And then let's hold. So when we're going to hold, we've got options. You could just be at the toes. Traditionally, we've got index finger and middle finger wrap around the big toes. Look, I've got my knee bent. I mean, we're still like warming up in essence. That this pose increases in depth if you come up onto the elbow. So there's putting the head, I've got my arm and elbow completely on the floor, or another layer of this pose is the elbow comes directly underneath the shoulder. But that's going to give you a pretty big stretch on this bottom side. Again, I'm just using this as a warm-up. I'm not really trying to come into some full expression of anything. Right now, I'm just discovering that that outer hamstring on this leg is part of the conversation. I got a conversation going on here between TFL, IT band, and outer hamstring. What a curiosity. Let's breathe in, exhale, release, a big opening, little traction. And let's take this into half side bow. I mean, that's technically what we would call it. We're going to grab the foot, bring the knee in line with hip. And inhale, let's do this dynamically as well. Push the foot into the hand and arch a little bit. Let the chest come forward, let the chin come back. Oh, that kind of feels amazing right now. If the neck is tired or the chin doesn't like that alignment, no problem. Let the chest come forward. Continue to hold here. The mechanism is pushing the foot into the hand. Might even like gently pulse that a little. Now dynamic, We let the hands slide. We draw the knee in towards the chest, ideally in line with the hip, but you do your best. And then inhale, arching. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, arching. Pushing foot into the hand. Exhale, knee to chest. Couple more. Really working in that hip socket. Last one. Inhale. And we're back to center. Good work over there. We're going to switch sides. If you would just like to roll onto the belly and turn onto the opposite side, that'll make a lot of sense. Just fixing me mop. And let's come down onto the opposite side. These are also my yoga pants that never stay up. First thing we did, we grounded ourselves. We are grounding a whole surface area of the body. It's like we're doing mountain pose, but for the side body. Often, one side of this variation of hand to toe pose is easier than the other. Also, sometimes it's easier to balance. Let's really ground. Stack that top arm, breathe in. And as you exhale, melt into the floor and just see. There might be differences. One side might be more comfortable. When we have pain on one side of the body, pain or discomfort on one side of the body, we dull our sensory perception over there. The aura would look dented in the field. So as I'm narrating this practice in my own body for you to learn how to narrate your own, I've been, that right hip is not so happy. So as I'm laying here on the right side of the body, my right side is giving all sorts of feedback right now. And I'm just letting that happen. I'm listening to it's holding, crunching, compressing. Just laying on the side like this is really activating whatever that story is. I know what the story is. The story is sitting in a chair and typing on a computer. It doesn't like it. Here we go, hand to toe pose, grounding into the floor. The only reason the hands and leg can lift is because you're pressing into the floor. Oh, inhale. So we were doing inhale, hand and toe coming together. Exhale. And I'm going to play with that little traction. I'm just bringing that foot a little behind me. Something is equally tight on this side. In terms of this traction. Inhale. And exhale. Take your time. We're going to do about 5 more. In the yoga text, it describes this pose creates a beautiful gait to the walk. I don't know what that beautiful gait is. Is it a slow saunter? It's a catwalk walk. Catwalk walk seems like pull up ass, so probably not that one. This pose is also indicated in paradigms of stagnation in and around the reproductive organs. So breaking up clots could be helpful for things like an endometriosis. It's where we've got excess fluid. in and around the organs, and that's causing great discomfort. This is a big circulatory pose for inside the pelvic bowl. Still playing with that little traction. Maybe there's one more here. This hip has a little sound to it, a little tight ligament. Let's take this into the back bend that we did, half side bow. Knee in line with hip, pushing, foot pushes into the hand. The shoulder blades come together with the chest, arch open. Could have a little movement through the neck if that felt good. And let's bring knee in towards chest. And exhale. So these are some of the therapeutic movements for when people report low back pain or even sciatica. Especially the sciatica that's due to a tight piriformis muscle, which is the most common. Movement be there, last one. Nice, come all the way back to starting position and check in with surface area of the body. We are right here, at least I am. You might have to do 180 to come right onto the belly. And while we're here on the belly, come right into reversed corpse pose. Palms face down, forehead down. Breathe to the whole of the back body and melt into the floor. We're coming into half locust pose. Arms are in line with shoulders. We're going to lift right leg and left arm. A little bit off the floor and exhale down. Lifting right arm, left leg, and exhale down. Now we've got some room here for some traction-y fun. One of the things that we could do is actually flex the foot of the leg that we're lifting. I'm just working out a little foot crampy thing. Flex this right foot. So I'm going to do right leg, left arm. I'm going to flex that foot before I even lift. I'm going to, like somebody is pulling my heel and I'm stretching that leg out of the socket. Traction. And with that engagement, I lift opposite arm and leg and then come back down. I flex the left like I'm pulling out of the socket. Nice traction there. Then I lift. And exhale this, which is making space in the hip. Let's play. And the fun part about this play is we are strengthening whole back body. We are also balancing Ida and Pingala Nadis. And we are balancing two lobes of the brain. Yep, making ourselves smarter. One more to each side. Come back to forehead on the floor, rest, melt. Baby cobra, hands by sides of chest. Before we do anything, give a roll of the shoulders, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and move the shoulder blades down towards the hips. Our anti-computer posture here. Yeah, and that's baby cobra. Take a big breath in. Exhale all the way down. Let the forehead be on the floor. Take a breath. Lengthen the whole spine. Let's do several of those. Inhale. Belly pushes into the floor. Chest lifts. And then we do this really pointed roll of the shoulders back. Squeeze of the shoulder blades together. And then whatever movement we can get of the shoulder blades down towards the hips. Anti 3-point posture, which is what happens when we sit at computers or sit on the phone. That's shoulders rounding forward, coming together and pushing the head forward, making a bird neck. Let's breathe in. On those spaces in between, I'm imagining each vertebra has so much space. And I'm breathing in between the vertebrae and I'm letting my spine lengthen. We're going to do like 4 more of these. Inhale. Don't squeeze the glutes. Let the glutes be relaxed. Let the spine lengthen. Roll the shoulders, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So simple movements. So powerful, so much strengthening. All the way down. We still have 2 more. Nice breath in. Last one. Let's hold it there. Roll shoulders, squeeze shoulder blades together, move shoulder blades down towards hips, and then turn this into Sphinx. Just slide the hands forward, elbows under the shoulders, lifting up. See just how that transition feels? What feels open? What feels tighter? What kind of feedback are you getting? I'm meeting some resistance in the SI joint, so I'm going to draw my navel inward, just stabilizing there. Less of my body weight on the lumbar vertebra and just drawing my navel inwards. But I want the glutes to be as relaxed as possible. Might be easier from crocodile, elbows on the floor, chin into the hands. Oh, yeah. Checking in with tailbone. Couple breaths here. Adjust the elbows forward, back, away from one another, closer. Find your spot. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's finish up this little chiropractor series here. This is Jatsikasana superior pose. You're going to interlace the fingers and have them half on the back of the head, half on the back of the neck, and the forehead on the floor. That little extra, so you don't have to do anything, just place the hands there. And now melt the heat from the hands, the weight of the hands. It's gently tractioning the spine. We're also nourishing all this fascia and points at the occiput. A beautiful pose for releasing tension, headache, migraine, eye strain. Breathe into the whole of the spine for a few breaths and see if you can make space between the vertebrae. Releasing the hands so we can stay there a lot longer, like a lot. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like this. Let's go ahead and come out of that position, bend the knees, and flap your fishtail from side to side. And let's do another round of moving fluid around these hips. Moving fluid in fluid-filled spaces. Can we get more of the anatomy to release? Up and back into child's pose. Give yourself a few little moves before you even come all the way back into child's pose to just activate glutes, SI joint, all the way back. It's interesting. Some things are juicy and some things are still tight. Walking one set of fingertips forward and breathing. Switch that to the other side. One set of fingertips walks forward and breathing. Holding in the center and breathing. Range of motion movement. That's actually for adductors. We widen this child's pose stance. This time, toes are just facing back, and we're just gonna have some little dynamic movement forward and backward. Attachment site of groins. Adductor. Slowly making our way up and coming into super classic cat pose. Fingers spread nice and wide, moving through the entire spine. Breathing in, breathing out. We've been rather focused into hips, so things might be talking to you in upper thoracic spine. Let's take this side to side movement. Inhale, center, exhale, turn the head, find the heel. Inhale, center. Breathing in. Nice. Back to center, child's pose. Maybe adding a little bit of padding for the knee, if that sounds like a good idea. We're coming into just 90 degrees lunge, and we're gonna take this forward and back into the lunge, range of motion style. This forward and back. I've got my back toes tucked under. Fascia, my feet are a little cranky, so just getting that little extra activation. Range of motion, forward and back. Put some padding under the knee if that sounds like a good idea. I've got 2 mats, a rug, and a pad under that, so I'm feeling pretty good. Bring this leg to the outside, and let's take this into side lunge. Oh, good stuff for cultivating seated meditative postures. Nice. Switch side. We've got the forward and backward lunge. I'm using that backwards bit to activate that cranky hamstring. Nice. Let's take this into the adductor zone. Side lunge. And just kind of let yourself flow. Coming back to center. Supta Vajrasana. This is a big earth face stretch. So from Virdasana, make a little bit of space between the knees, feet to the sides, hands come behind. And it's going to depend on you how much range of motion you have. Elbows bent, elbows on the floor, total back on the floor. Lots of options. And wherever you are, keep breathing. Let's take this into a counter pose in the form of child's pose. Very wide child's pose with forearms stacked. Back onto hands and knees. Hip circles from here. We've got fingers spread very wide, picking up right knee. Let's do circles forward. Circles backwards. Let's try the opposite side. Goes forward. Circles backward. Or just both directions. Nice. Take a child's pose. And there's opportunities to wiggle through the shoulder blade. Create movement into computer posture. And coming into where did my imagination just go? We were let's add a little kick while we're there. So we're coming back to hands and knees, fingers spread wide. We're picking up right leg and we're kicking to the side. And the ball mount of the foot is slightly flexed. And do the other side. Now it came to me. One more time, Salva. Each time, opportunity to get under the shoulder blade. So this is tiger pose. Cat pose. It's tiger pose. It's like cat pose with one leg. So we're gonna bring the knee in towards the chest, and then as you inhale, arch and point the foot towards the ceiling. And arch. And fabulousness for the sacrum, strengthening lower abdomen. Let's switch sides. Exhale. And now for the contortionists in the room, head will touch knee and foot will touch head. JK. Well, this practice is making me hungry. Last one. Noticing differences on two sides. Child's pose. Coming onto seated position. Stretch both legs. Nice and much joy. Wiggle the leg. Range of motion here. Inner rotation. Range of motion. External rotation. Bring it forward. And the opposite side. I'm just holding on my right side just to get a little. Just to take it. Keep going. Couple more. Last one. Back to center. And let's stretch both legs. I'm going to bring a little something under. If I had a yoga blanket, that'd be great. Legs extended. I'm reaching under. I'm giving a little brush to the flesh. I'm moving those glutes out of the way. I don't have much. Not too much junk in the trunk. But the little is there. I got the sits bones. I got the feet flexed. Couple poses from here. Let's bring right foot in. Press on the inside of the thigh. Flex the left. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, just as much as whatever fascia is shouting at you today is cool with it. Mine's like here. There's a lot shouting. We sat and we did a lot of writing yesterday. Okay, breathing into. Right, there's just no point in me pushing past the pull. If I just go to on the other side of the pull, so well before the edge, and I just hang out and I breathe, it will release. I have to be patient. I probably need to hold more than I would if I was in a class, right? If I was just doing home practice. Let's see what's happening on the opposite side. We're inhaling up and down. Move any flesh out of the way that's helpful. And inhale and out. Now this side can go farther, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do exactly what I did on the first side. Gentle flex, maybe a micro bend. Just think bend. Now see, this side is restful. Now there is a phenomenon in the body. There is a holographic phenomenon where the body, like there's some kinds of chiropractic care, like network chiropractic, some of the gentle stuff that applies this premise in the healing that we have something tight and we can use that openness in the body as a holographic mirror and just let that tight side, like part of that healing communication is, hey, look how the other side is role modeling. So in enjoying the openness, we're role modeling something for the side that's tight. Look at the possibilities, right hip. Whatever you're holding on to for dear life, you don't have to. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale on down. Paschimottanasana, seated forward bend. Get the flesh out of the way. Same thing, I'm gonna micro bend before I do anything. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, reach forward. Sure, I can reach the toes, but I'm gonna ease it back and I'm gonna see what the journey feels like from really open space. Still feel stretch through hands, through calves. Feel an attachment site behind the back of the knee, at the shield tuberosity. I'm in a real anatomy mood today, huh? Couple more breaths. I was already ready to bail. Couple more breaths. I was feeling that fascial activation here. This is water face stretch, bladder kidney. And that's inhale coming all the way up and down. Let's bring right foot over the left and wrap with some aspect of the right leg over, left arm rests. Hand, elbow, elbow to the outside, backhand pushing chest forward, this foot flexed, turning towards the space behind you. Breathe in and exhale. Let's switch sides. Let's breathe in. Stretch both legs. Give some windshield wipers. Fold it up into Sukhasana, easy pose. See how things feel at the end of our practice. We had a real action-packed practice. So much rest and space in between. Activation of moving with the breath. I wonder what's next. Me? I'm back on my strength workout. So I'm going to do my strength workout after this. Rubber bands and some 3-pound weights. What is your body calling for? Is that bowl of oatmeal? Are you ready for a Nidra, a seated meditation? You're going to do some pranayam. You just like, that was the thing. And now I'm going to enter the next chapter of my day with this centering in my body, this awareness of breath and movement. So, as always, it is a deep pleasure to share these practices with you. And I will see you very soon. Thank you, friends.